Hello. All right. I just moved today and I'm in a new spot and I had totally tested out all the lighting and then it got dark. And right before I signed on, I was like, oh God, I had to fix all the lighting here. So hopefully I feel a little bit like a lizard, but it's okay. It will be perfectly fine. I am going to give my guest a little bit of time to get on and join us today. But yeah, I'm excited to bring on Connie Hunt from Positive Foundations, who is the most recent guest on my podcast. And we have a lot of good stuff to talk to you guys about today. Oh, I'm so looking forward to this. Connie and I can talk forever. So good thing Instagram's gonna cut us off after 60 minutes because otherwise we just talk for hours and hours and hours. But that's just how it is. So I hope everybody is having a good weekend and a good Monday if you guys are in a different part of the world and it's already Monday. And hi, me. Thanks for joining us. All right, let's see. Connie on right now. I'm so excited. Let's see when she pops on here. Yay! Are you there?
I am. I have to turn you up because I can't hear you.
Yes. All right, now I hear you. Okay. How are you?
I am good. Oh, wait. I am well. Thank you. I'm good. Been a short, long weekend. Look! Yay! Hey, if we get bored, we can play Art You Got It. Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like perched right there. Oh!
Well, he's not going to be quiet now. They're talking together! Yay!
He had to join us. So he's going to... Now he's going to talk to us for a little bit.
Switch off. That would be... I don't know why C-3PO is talking with R2, but whatever. I'm just going to warn you that there is scratching coming from my right, and I don't know if you can hear it or not, but my dog is very insistent that he would like to be on this too.
Well, I don't really know what kinds of sounds I'm going to get because I'm in a brand new spot today. So I've only been here for, I don't know, 7 hours or something like that. So there could be weird, there was just a really loud noise outside and I was like, what is going on? So we're just going to roll with it.
As long as it wasn't a gunshot, I think you're okay.
No, it was like somebody was putting something in the trash can and like there was nothing else in the trash can.
Oh, yeah.
Dropped it and it was just like a boom. So, I don't know. We'll be flexible. And you have your books behind you.
Yes.
Yay!
I was like, yeah,
So,
I probably have those, huh?
yeah, I know. So we'll get into the books in a little bit, but let's do a little introduction just in case people didn't listen to the podcast. They don't know who you are. I know there might be some people that are slacking. But I know, right? I've listened to it 10 times already. But
I listened. It was painful, as you know, but you did such a good job editing. Yay!
Hey, I try, but it helps when my guest is as amazing as you are, and I didn't have to edit that much. I had to edit myself, not so much you.
You're a very good conversationalist.
Yeah. So, hold on there, just making sure. Okay, good. Hi, Brock. I see Brock's here. Me's here. Yay! Awesome. So, Connie, speech therapist, I should say speech language pathologist,
Whatever.
26 years?
20, well, in May, it'll be 27 years.
In May.
So the barking has started, just in case you...
That's okay.
I may have to take a minute and let the fuzzy beast in. We'll just see. His daddy is not 5 right now, so he's not being very well babysat.
Yeah. And I know you do early intervention. You've kind of had experience across the board.
Yeah. I didn't really start out didn't start out that way, because if you've listened to the podcast, you know that I was like, no, I'm not working with kids, no. But when I first got out of school, I took the job that I could get, which was working in a skilled nursing facility. And then after that, I moved to another company that was more of a kind of middle level. It was partially a skilled nursing facility, but the rest of it was like people who were coming out of the hospital, because it was right next to a hospital. So it's kind of more rehab oriented. And that company also owned a hospital. So I got to do peds and adults in that hospital, rehab hospital environment, which was also super cool. And then now I've been, for the past 20 years, working with kids in home health. And it's been interesting, because some of them I worked with when they were teeny tiny and or teenagers, and now they're grown up and they're doing other things, and they've come back because they have to learn how to do a job interview, and their R's are sounding weird again, or they're having to problem solve grocery shopping and things like that, and cooking, and so they've come back. So it's been super fun, because I am getting to see some of the kiddos in the books. Those are all real kiddos. Those kiddos right there.
One of my favorite parts about those books.
Who I worked with when they were little, and now most of them, I think the youngest one is 8. So most of them are actually like teenagers at this point, and almost adults. So in fact, one of them, I don't see her. No, is she there? One of them has 3 children of her own, which is like,
wow. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But it's fun. It's fun. It's been super fun. So we have to just learn and grow with them, and to have had the chance to work in so many different environments has given me a chance to meet a lot of really wonderful people. So.
Yeah, it's crazy working in early intervention and working with kiddos when they're, say, 3 months old, 6 months old, 12 months old, and then all of a sudden you see them when they're like 5, 7, 10, and you're like, oh my goodness, I knew you. You're like this big.
Oh yeah. Well, try seeing them when they're 24.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, you are a big 6'4" grown-up man, and you used to be. So.
And then you forget, like, or at least I do, like, I forget that we age. So I'm always like, oh, I'm the same, and then I'm like, oh, I've gotten a whole lot older.
I have not aged at all. No. I am just the same.
Definitely not.
Funny,
no.
Like, in my head, they don't age. So in my head, clients that I saw like 15 years ago are still 3, not 18. So I'm like, wow, something happened. And I don't feel like I have gotten that much older, but something has happened along the way, and I just am ignoring it.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. No, I know the feeling. So let's jump into the books, because I know we talked a lot on the podcast, but when there's no video, it's hard to be explaining when we're not really showing kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
And then I made it a point in one of my stories the other day. I'm like, I'm not going to open the books at all. Like, all I'm going to do is just show everybody the amazing covers.
Like,
but that's it. So yeah, let's just kind of like dive in and start talking about these books, because honestly, okay, hold on. Now I have to get them all out here.
You have to get them all.
They are amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love
so very kind and nice and supportive, and I really, 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 really appreciate it.
But I do. I've been like hugging these books, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. And I bought them so my sister has 2 kids, and my sister-in-law has 3 kids. And so I bought a set for each of them for Christmas. So when I went to visit them after Christmas, I was like, guess what we're reading tonight?
Whether you want to or not.
Pick one. Which one do you guys want to read? And I was like going through it and like explaining the books and like pointing out different things in the books for them. And even my sister, sister-in-law, brother-in-laws, I should say, like even they were like, oh, this is so cool. Like there's so much in these books.
There is. There is. And it took us about 2 years really to come up with all of the content in the pictures. I had
Mm-hmm.
a wonderful artist. I'm not going to say amazing because I have looked in the thesaurus and I have some other words in my vocabulary now. Um, but she was so good and so patient, and I right away she seemed to understand kind of the concept that I was going for. That I wanted the text, and I wanted that to be fun and rhymey and
Mm-hmm.
rhythmic, and repetitive, so that kiddos could learn it and kind of start to join in, or I could pause and they would fill in the blank. But there was so much else that I wanted happening in the books, because the books that I really, really liked with kiddos, when they were younger, was a book where we could look at it 10 different times. Oh, the barking is happening again. We could look at it 10 different times and see 10 different things. So it
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't just like, let's open this book and read the story. My favorite books had such rich illustrations,
Yeah.
that you could look at it and just talk about what you saw on the page. And when I was growing up, Richard Scarry books, I think that's how you say his name. Some people say Scarry, but I knew Richard Scarry, was one of my very, very favorite books to read when I was little. And I would just go through the pages, look at everything that was happening in the pages, and look at what the worm was doing and try to
Yep.
see what everybody was doing. So it was fun to read, but it was like more fun to just even look at if I was by myself and there wasn't somebody necessarily to read to me. Um, so I kind of had that idea from the beginning, and um, Jennifer was just amazing. Jennifer Ball, yay! Shout out, woohoo! She was amazing. It just oh no, that word again. She was
It's okay. It's okay. It's
um,
fine. I'll say it 20 more times too.
fantastic. She was so fantastic, and going
Wait, okay.
through, and
So,
taking like
Connie, I'm gonna cut
I
you
would just
off.
like write her a list of things that I wanted to be included, and she would make it happen. So
I
she
want to cut you
truly
off
was amazing.
because people people don't know. So Connie messaged me like I don't know, maybe
Oh,
the
yeah, we
day
should fill
after
them in on that.
the episode came out, and she was like, I think I said amazing like 100 times, and I was like, it's perfectly fine. So that's where this whole like running joke of amazing is,
Sorry.
because I'm guilty too. I'm like 100% guilty. I say amazing all the time. It's fine. So, hi
Well, you know,
Tay.
I'm not really that, I'm not like super worried about it, but it just like, by the end, I was like, oh my gosh, woman, can you not say some other word? I was talking to myself. So,
that's
oh, it was really
that's the
fun. Like,
speechy in you, though.
I'm supposed to have, I'm a writer and a speech pathologist. I should have a vocabulary with, more than just one, suppose, like
It's
really.
fine.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay,
so
okay. Just
that's why
back
there's
to the
so much
books.
going on in the book.
Yep.
Oh, hey, I should tell you, because you
Yeah.
know this, I think.
Hmm.
But okay, so since I do early intervention,
Hmm.
a lot of times I'm in kiddos' houses and we'll be talking to families and ask them. I think I said this in the podcast. Have you taken your kiddo to the park, or do you guys do stairs or whatever? And they'll be like, no, are they supposed to be doing that now? So in my company, we use the DAISY to
Hmm.
do early intervention evaluations. So I kind of went through the sections, of the DAISY that we use for physical development, for fine motor, basically the speech, the PT, and the OT sections, and also the cognitive section. Um, and I tried to include a lot of the things that, sometimes families have said, oh gosh, we didn't really think about doing that. So when you go through the books, those developmental milestones are represented in the illustrations. So you'll see kiddos who are walking, one foot in front of the other. You'll see kiddos that are pulling a pull toy, pushing a toy, building with blocks, starting and stopping running. Um, there's feeding themselves, there's imitating mouth movements, there's imitating sounds, there's imitating hand movements. So there's just a bunch of different basic developmental milestones that if you did not even read the book and you just looked at the pictures, you would have some ideas of things that you could do with your kiddos. So, that's it.
Yep. And all right, I'm gonna have to find one of my favorite things, and you didn't put them on every page, so you have to look carefully. There's no one on that one. Where are they? I was looking at, oh, there we go.
Are hiding.
Okay, this is one of my absolute favorite parts of the book. So there are these little bunnies. I don't know if you guys can see it. I know it's kind of dark. There's one right there. And I think there's one on this page too. Yep, and there's one right there. There's a little reflection there. Sorry, guys. But there are these hidden bunnies throughout the every book. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I literally just went through and I was like, I have to find all of them.
Let's find the bunnies.
They're so stinking cute. Oh, I love them. So it's like, there's that. And then I know you were saying like some of the words. So you have like different colored words.
Yes, the words are color coded.
Yep.
So the action words are all in colors. And then, so they're like, again, if you don't have a kiddo that wants to sit and read the whole book, you can just look for the words in a color, or you can look for words in specific colors. So just the red words or just the green words. And you can try to do what you see in the actions. And I just wanted to kind of bring some attention to those concepts and the concepts that are represented in those action words. Because again, building vocabulary and giving kiddos a chance to actually do a book instead of just listen to a book. So my wonderful husband is a history teacher, and he very early in his career had somebody who talked to him about the differences in how history is taught in different countries, and and just in general in the American education system. And they said, we do math, we do writing, that's how we learn that, but we don't do history. So he has made an effort throughout his career to find a way for his students to do history, so they're not just sitting and reading about it, and it becomes more of an active learning experience. So I always really liked the idea of doing books, not just sitting and reading. I mean, you can be quiet with them, but you can also go through and do the actions that the kids are doing. If it's a rainy day and you're inside and you're looking for something to do that's not too loud but still less active, you can do the actions that you see in the books. So you can read them, you can listen to them, but you can also do them. So.
Well, and I've encountered that in practice before, where I use books all the time, and I'll have parents, especially kiddos that get a lot of therapy, that they're like, you're an OT, like why are you using books? Like that's what the speech therapist does, or that's what the teacher does, right? It was always somebody else. And I would always just sit there and be like, but there's so much more that you can do with books than just simple reading, or having the kid read, or you read to the kid. And so when I would sit there and like have the kid help turn the page, or try to like either I point it out or have the kid point out what it is, like, you're working on that finger isolation and getting them to point, identify, imitate, and you can actually get so much like reciprocity between yourself and the kid and the parents and the environment, because you could be like, oh look, there's a car here, do you see a car in the room? And there's just so much more that you can do with it. And that's another, like, just one of the other reasons that I love these books, because again, it's not just reading. There's so much more that you can do. And Taylor said it's so thoughtful. Yes, there is so much stuff in there. I know. So yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan.
Thank you for being a big fan. I appreciate it. Like, I'm willing to read one, but I don't know how exciting that is to, like, watch somebody read a book, because I want to do them, not just read them. But
right.
now I'm getting squirrely.
Yeah, that's okay.
I have
I'm
ADD. Can you tell?
constantly moving. I was in like my little desk chair that swivels, and I was like, ooh, this is not going to be good because I'm such a vestibular seeker that I'd be like, woo, woo, the whole time. We would make people. I would make people dizzy. So.
Oh, so very silly.
Uh-oh. Taylor is asking for you to read.
Oh. Okay. All right.
Pick one.
Picking mouth.
Okay.
I'm going to pick the mouth book. I'm sorry, I know it is backwards to you guys, and that's super annoying. But that's just the way it's going to be.
I'm going to grab mine.
So they all start with hello, and it's very important that the hello be really silly, but that's just me. So I'm going to read it the way that I do when I'm being silly. Hello, mouth. Do you have a mouth? I have a mouth. We all have mouths. Yay. All right. Hello, mouth. Hello, mouth. From my nose to my chin. Outside there are lips, teeth, and tongue. Hide within. With my mouth I can eat. Teeth chomp, chew, and bite. Munch, munch, and crunch, and swallow food pieces down right. Turn the page.
And you have to make the sound effect when you turn the page.
All right. So here are my silly little kiddos. And you can see in the backwards pictures, okay, so this is one of my lovely little ladies, and she's sitting in her wheelchair with her communication device. Yay! And they have snacks, and everybody's using a different kind of cups. We have open cups, we have sip cups, we have the curlicue straws that Talk Tools uses for their straw program. We have snacks on the plates that are snacks that I use in feeding therapy. So there's some different snack ideas if somebody is looking for some. And we have drinking from an open cup. Yay, because you can drink from an open cup when you are very small. Once you have trunk stability and head stability, you can start trying to drink from an open cup. So there are open cups featured as well. Okay, back to the story. Watch my lips drink from a glass or a cup. So for those families who say, my kid should be drinking from a cup. Oh, yes, a glass or a cup. Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I use straws to slurp my drink up. My mouth has a tongue that can taste and can lick. It sticks out so the doctor can see if I'm sick. You do that with each other. It's kind of silly.
And there's a bunny on that page.
There's a bunny on that page. Oh, there's a bunny. And there's a bunny on that page, too.
There's a bunny on that page.
Okay.
And he's
eating a carrot. My mouth. And ooh, ooh. I whistle and snap. I growl, bark, quack, quack, and moo. Turn page. My mouth can blow kisses and say, I love you. I love you. It makes kissy fish lips. Practice the kissy fish lips. And sometimes says, boo. My mouth helps to make me the best I can be. Hooray for my mouth. Hooray for me. Those are kiddos brushing their teeth. So we know, yes, kiddos can brush their teeth. And they're looking in the mirror, and some of them are sticking out their tongue. So we can practice doing that. We can talk about toothbrushing. And that is the end of the story. The end. Oh, and on the back. On the back,
yes.
Backwards, which you can't see. But backwards, there's interaction ideas. So on every book, I put just 4 simple little interaction ideas for some ideas for families when they're reading the book. If they want to do something besides just read the book, and then when they get sent out to you, there's a card with 24 different things that you can do besides just read the book. I know it's really hard to read, and they're teeny tiny, but at least I had that for now. Something better is coming, but that's it for now.
Well, and then the other thing I was going to mention is I don't know if you said that the siblings too. You have siblings
Oh,
in
yes,
here as
that's true.
well. So it's
That
not
is
just kids that you've worked
true.
with, it's also their
Okay.
siblings too.
So yes, all right. So my book features actual real life kiddos that I worked with a variety of different diagnoses. Some of them are siblings. So this is a sibling
Mhm.
to this little guy. And she was one of my lovely assistants. And for those of you who know Taylor Made, Taylor Made was one of my lovely assistants many, many years ago when I was working with this cute little guy. Yay! So I wanted to honor the siblings that have been present for the therapy sessions, that have helped me out, that have been patient when their families couldn't do things because somebody was coming into the house 3 times a week to see their sibling and they didn't really quite understand why. And those who have been patient with me when I have had to say, I'm sorry for ourselves today. But I have, gosh, I've had so many sessions that have been enriched from the presence of a sibling that I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that they got honored in this book. So there's there's 2 different siblings that are featured in the books, and then there's some kiddos that don't have any special diagnosis. They're just typical kiddos. But one of the things that I like is that when you look at kiddos from the outside, often you can't tell what labels have been assigned to them. So there's no arrows pointing saying this child has autism in the book.
Right,
So there's just a
exactly.
bunch of kiddos who are all playing together. Yay!
Yep. Yeah, and actually, I don't know if I shared this story with you or not, but when I was reading it with one of my nieces, we were sitting there, and she is 4, and 4, yeah, and she has a little girl in her class that uses a wheelchair. And we were sitting there and we were going through the book, and all of a sudden, and I forget the kid's name, but she was like, "Oh, that's Susie. Oh, that kid's like Susie in my class." And like it kind of started this whole conversation about, oh yeah, she uses a wheelchair, and I was asking about how it works like in the classroom, and she was able to kind of ask me questions, and it was so cool because it wasn't like, oh, what's that? It was just like, oh yeah, I see that, and I have a kiddo in my classroom that uses one, and
Yeah.
it for me it was so cool to see that because you don't really see that in other books, other children's books.
No, there are some that are out there, but um, often they are the subject of the book, and the book is about them being
Mm-hmm.
in a wheelchair or having something. And that's not that all books are like that. I do the set that I loved from the very beginning. It was very forward thinking and had a kiddo in a wheelchair in it, which I thought was super cool. But they just happened to be there. It wasn't like, here is a book about a kiddo that has an issue or something different about them. They just were there in the background. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be normal because for most of my kiddos, that it was just normal that they were part of their school or their classroom, their family, the playground. And we didn't really make a big deal out of it. So.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take a second so I don't forget to do this, but I want to give a little shout out because we are doing a giveaway of the books. And I guess I'll give a little run through just in case people haven't heard what the whole deal is, because we got a little bit of stuff going on here. So
You made it complicated.
I know I did. I want to make sure people are paying attention here. Make it a little game, right? Like we gotta do the giveaway, not just read the giveaway. We gotta do it. So if you guys want to be a part of the giveaway, you have to join my email list on OT for Life. All right, that's 1. 2, you got to follow both me and Connie, Positive Foundations, on Instagram. And then in the podcast episode, there's a password. And I'm about to give you the password for this. And then there's going to be one more password when Connie does a takeover of my account. So That is 5 things that you have to do, and if you do all 5, you get 10 entries. It's amazing. Just double it up right there. So, the password for the IG Live. Are you ready? The password is is.
Is.
Yep.
I-S.
Correct? Yes.
Okay.
Is. So once you get
double checking.
Once you get the other 2, it will all make sense.
Okay. I trust you. I know there's a method to your madness.
I know. I got it. So, yeah, so that's the giveaway. So if you guys want to enter to win a set of the books for yourself, do it. They're amazing. There's another one. We should have just been keeping like tabs of like.
I know, totally, right? Oh man,
How many times do you
I
say
feel like I
amazing?
want to say, if anybody would like to go through and count the amazings, I will give them a set of books, but I don't know if I really want to know how many amazings are in there.
Brock is asking, do we get 20 if we guess the third before it happens? Connie, I'll let you if you want to give him, but Brock, you can't tell anybody yet. You could guess it in your head.
You can guess in your head.
So Connie, up to you. If they guess it and they email me or they message me before the last one's released. All right, 20 entries in the giveaway.
That's okay with me. The more the merrier. Sure, why not?
Right.
I think the person who has the most entry should get a set. And then you can just randomly draw one.
All right. I can do that.
I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Brock's all excited over here.
It's your giveaway. You can do whatever you want to.
I know. Well, I was like, I'm going to do it. But I was like, I'll let you have a say. I was like, she's going to say that anyway. So I have a question. I wrote it down so I remembered. People that know me, they know that I have to write things down, otherwise I forget. But so I had somebody reach out to me on Instagram that had a question for you. So Lauren Burns, thank you for your question. So here's the question. Are these books good baby shower gifts for friends who are not therapists?
Ooh, funny that you should ask that. I'm going to a baby shower next weekend. So I actually have, I have had people give them as baby shower gifts. They are good baby shower gifts, depending on what kind of present you would like to give. I, in general, think that they are best suited for kiddos, depending on how advanced they are, like 6 months and up. So they will be, there's nothing wrong with sitting and looking at them earlier. You can do that if you want to. But in terms of kiddos, like actually being ready to engage with you and the books at the same time, that is happening a little bit closer to about 12 months. So I am choosing to not give my books. I know, like I'm shooting myself in the foot. I could say, yes, you should absolutely give these as baby shower presents. I'm choosing to not give them as a gift right now because I'm going to give them as a first birthday present, because I feel like they're getting overwhelmed with books and other things right now. And I don't want them to just kind of get lost by the wayside. But I have had some people who have bought them for gifts, for baby showers, that have said, oh my gosh, they love them. That was so cool. They were reading them already and talking about the things that they were going to do with their babies, and they loved them, and they were super excited to read them with them. So I mean, it's kind of like a lot of the other books that we have in the world, like Brown Bear, and you can read them at any age, but a baby is probably not going to interact with Brown Bear quite so much. But it's your choice.
Yeah, and kind of my thought process, I wasn't giving them for a baby shower gift, but my nieces were all different ages, and there were a couple that were really young that, of course, they're not going to be reading it. Like at the time, she was 10 months, I want to say, But then there was an older one, so I was like, this is a
Right.
great way to have the
Yeah.
siblings interact. So the older
Right.
one that is reading can sit down and read it to the younger one and point things out. So
Right.
it's just like it's so multifaceted there. So yeah, if
Right.
there's like a sibling, that's great. The other cool thing, and I'll just point it out just in case people can't tell from here, but they are board books. So they're like the little,
Oh,
they're thicker, right? They're not like
yeah.
the flimsy pages that are gonna rip too. So
They're
that
thick
makes it
and
nice for
very
younger kids.
shiny. See how
Yes.
shiny they are? So that they can be washed easily and not be
Yes.
ruined. I'm a therapist.
And if they get
I
chewed
wash
on.
my books a lot.
So I think I would say that they are a good baby shower gift, and I think they are good for people that are not just therapists. I think they're great for people that aren't therapists because there's so much in there
Oh
about
yeah.
just regular development, just
Right.
life out there.
Everybody's kiddo. If you have a kiddo, they're going to be going through stuff that's in the book at some point in time. So yeah, they're definitely not at all designed just for therapists to use. Um, Mostly because one of my motivators was to be able to have something to leave at the family's home where the family could look through it and find some of those boring activities like the oral motor exercises that I ask families to do, like crazy stuff like that, and saying words and trying to imitate and do animal sounds. I wanted them to be able to have
Yep.
um, some of those activities in a book, not in a we're going to sit and do therapy activities right now form.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do therapy activities in conjunction with them, but you don't have to. And there's nothing in them that would be like, oh, this is like a speech therapy book or an
Right.
OT oriented book. They are just
Mm-hmm.
they're just silly rhymey stories with very cool illustrations. So
Yeah. Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your whole intention was for therapists to be able to use them, but also for the parents to be using them together. It is not
right,
one,
right.
it's not
Yeah.
just geared for one. It's
No.
basically it's all inclusive. It's for everybody.
Right. It's for everybody. So I do hope to do a series, little sneak preview. I hope to
Ooh,
do a series for kiddos um, birth to about 12 months oriented, because
okay.
I have a lot of families say to me, what do you do with a kiddo that little? Or
Mhm.
um, how am I supposed to play with my baby?
Yeah.
So it is similar to this, but it will be much more geared toward the birth to 12-month-old. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and if I sell enough of these, I will be able to afford to do those. They're written, they're just waiting to happen
Yep.
at some point in time. So
Mm-hmm. Oh
then I'll be
yeah,
able to track
that's
birth to
so
12
needed.
and then 6 months plus.
Yep. Perfect. I love it. Oh, I can't wait. Okay, when that happens, you're gonna have to come back on and share with
Of
us
course,
the beauty
of
of the
course.
books.
Yeah. Well, can I take a little side trip for just a minute? I
Please.
So one of the origin stories of the books is that
Mm-hmm.
they sold to a different publisher in 2007 and were being illustrated by an illustrator who did not want to illustrate kids with special needs. So, in a very roundabout way, the books came back to me, and I was able to have control over how they came out, which was wonderful. But in doing that, I decided to start my own publishing company. So I just feel like there's a lot of therapists that have a lot of um, great ideas for books and how um, we could have some useful materials that are a little bit different than what a traditional publishing company would use to make. And there are great publishing companies out there that do educational materials and therapy materials, and some of them also do children's books as well. But
Mm-hmm.
I want to just have my focus be on children's books. So I am hoping to maybe expand at some point in time. At the very beginning, but at some point in time, I would like to be a place where therapists or people who have an idea for a book series that um, can be used to help families and help them with their knowledge and uh, kind of basic understanding of child development. I would like
Mm-hmm.
to be a place that could actually make those happen instead of being a traditional um, publishing company that's kind of looking for a book that they can mass market.
Right. So I have a
Just my
question for
idea.
you.
I'll be around.
Oh gosh. You know what? I know my husband was on here at some point. I don't know if he's still watching at this point, but he has been probably for the last, I don't even know, year or two, he's been like, you need to write a book. So I'm not saying anything. All I know is that he's been pushing me to write a book. But
It's a very long process. So if you started now,
10
you might
years
be
from
ready.
now, then it will be ready for the world.
Yes.
Oh, I had a question for you, and now I forgot what that question was. Oh,
Sorry.
okay. So, no, I got it.
Okay.
If besides reaching out to you, because I know when I ask the question, that's going to be an answer. What would be maybe like the first thing, if there's somebody there, somebody here, here, that wants to write a book, wants to write a children's book, wants to write a book with some sort of like therapy purpose, what would be your either biggest piece of advice or maybe like the first thing that they should consider besides reaching out to you?
Okay, well, that is an excellent question. Let me think. So the first thing that comes to my head is buckle up because it's going to be a long ride.
Yeah.
Um,
And
right.
so, yeah, I think specifically like knowing your why. What is the reason behind wanting to do this? Because it is going to be a big undertaking. It's years and
Yes.
years and lots of, I know you went through a lot of hurdles trying to get your books illustrated and trying to get your books out there. So yeah, I think knowing the why is so important. But then also looking and doing your own little market research out there of like what's out there, what you like, what you don't like, what you think is missing. Like I think those are all just such great advice for people that are potentially thinking about this, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that have an idea but then don't even know the first step, or they think it's too scary, so they're just like, yeah,
Right.
it's fine, like there's already other books out there, who needs mine, or that whole like imposter syndrome and
Right.
all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
Right. And the other piece of advice that I could give is just to write
mm,
because I've probably written 30 books, and of those
mm-hmm.
30, I have three. And those three were professionally edited, so you can hire an editor to edit your books, and you can't be precious about it because the editor knows what they're doing.
Right.
Those are all things that you can learn more about on SCBWI. I always say it wrong. Oh my gosh. I always switch two of the letters. But I was a great place to find information about those different steps.
Okay.
And you don't, I think, um, so when I first started shopping the books around to traditional publishers, I was
Mm-hmm.
very determined not to publish them myself because I felt like that was like they'll never be legit if I do it myself. And there was a big stigma for having your own little self-published books. But in the 13 years since they first sold, I have, I think the marketplace has changed a lot. A lot of places are smaller. There's big, giant companies that have a million different, like, sub publishing companies underneath them. And then there's some little teeny tiny ones that have a very specific niche. And that's kind of what I've decided I would be because I didn't think that there was any place out there that was quite doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to just know that you don't have to know every step when you start. You write because you have to write usually, or because there's something that you need to get down on paper.
Yeah.
So you do that, and then once you have something where you have a fleshed out idea in your head of what you think you want it to be someday, then you can start saying, okay, what's the next step? Find an illustrator. What's the next step? Find an editor. So you can go through those different steps along the way, but you don't feel like don't feel like you need to have all of that lined up just to start writing.
Right. Yeah. Practice.
Yes.
You gotta practice.
Yes. I have,
Yeah.
I don't know, I have it. I have my first story. This is my
Oh, you
first
do?
little annoying rhymey story that I wrote and published in I think 7th grade. So I've been doing little rhymey stories for a very long time. So, practice makes better. Not necessarily perfect, but better.
Yes, I like that you caught yourself, because I was like, yeah, nobody's perfect. You just gotta
No.
improve and get 1% better every day. And the
Yeah.
only way to do that is just to constantly try and repeat and try again and fail and try again.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Is there anything else about your books that you want people to know about? I know we talked a lot in the podcast. We've talked a lot about it today, but is there anything else?
I want them to know that if they use your secret code or TaylorMade's secret code, that they can get them for cheaper. Yay! Basically, like 2 for 1 from what the price is on the back of the book.
Yep.
So with your secret code or with TaylorMade's secret code, you can go to the publishing website, www.positivefoundations, or, oh no, wait, this one is published. Try that again. www.positivefoundationspublishing.com. And on that website, there's a little package where you can buy all 3 books at once. And if you put in your secret code, then you get a discount and you'll get all 3 books for $20 plus shipping.
Yes.
I say that. That's the lawyers in the background saying,
plus shipping. Plus shipping. Yes. And the secret code for me is OT for life. OT, the number 4, LYFE. There you go.
yes,
So,
that is your secret code.
It is. It is. We have so many secrets.
I know.
We have the secret passwords. We have the secret code.
Secret words. It's so fun. It's like little mystery solving.
I know. I had fun kind of putting it together, and I was like, I was gonna pick like a couple random words, and I was like, no, I'm gonna make this even more fun.
I can't figure out what the 3rd word is going to be, and I'm kind of excited to find out. And I'm very impressed that somebody thinks that they can guess and know what it is, because I can't guess and know what it is.
I bet he knows, and he said something about oh gosh, I'll have to go back into the comments, but he said something about like a reference to it in the podcast. So
Ooh.
if we did, it was not intentional
No.
whatsoever.
How interesting. Wow. We'll have to check it out. All right. Well, if you email your guess to you, Miss Sarah, you have to tell me, because I want to know. Oh, wait, I guess you're going to tell me, so I'll know.
Yes.
I get to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll keep you
So
in the loop on that one, for sure. Definitely. If anybody knows, if you can guess it before, well, we haven't decided when we're doing the takeover yet.
No, I'll let you decide, and you can put it in writing so that it can be official, because I don't think anything that we've said here counts as official. That's the lawyers totally in the back again. Disclaimer. Nothing that we've said here is official. Oh, it's R2, yes. Speaking over my shoulder. Nothing is official unless it's in writing.
This has been so much fun. I love
it. Has been. You were so fun to talk to.
I know. I was warning people right in the beginning. I'm like, it's a good thing that Instagram cuts us off after 60 minutes, because otherwise this would just keep going.
It would just keep going. I know. See, look, I have all these books back here, and I'm seeing them in my peripheral vision right now, and I'm like, ooh, I want to tell you about books that I didn't write that are super cool and amazing. And I did like an Instagram post about like the behavior stuff, and I tried to put it on Instagram so people would have access to it, but nobody really wants to go to Instagram and read a whole handout page. But that's what I'm like, I need to read things to you so you know why I think those behavior things are so cool. But that's for another day.
Yeah, well, you can do your own lives with those. and go
I
through
don't
and
know.
talk.
I could. I'm really super not that brave, but I'm guessing that after tomorrow I will have gotten a little more used to it. We'll see.
Brock says do a blog post. Ideas, ideas, ideas.
Yes. Me. Oh, blog post. Ooh, blog post. Okay. That's a good idea. Oh, yeah, I have a blog. That one is also www.positivefoundationsforkids.com. I haven't put a lot of content on there lately because I've been busy doing content in other places in other ways, like this. But I will do that. Thank you. That was a very good suggestion. And I'm going to go to my little blog page and I will write that. So thank you. I appreciate it.
And then he said you can read it on a live.
Yeah, I could.
I have lots of good ideas for other people.
You have very good ideas. I like them very much. I think that you could use some of those ideas for yourself because they are very good. So,
well,
I don't know. Do you have a blog? Occupied Podcast. I'm sorry, I'm old and I have to like tilt my head to be able to read. Occupied Podcast. Do you have a blog?
He has a podcast.
He has a podcast. I know.
He has a blog. I don't think he's been writing anything recently on it. I know there's like some old stuff on it, but yeah, he's a good buddy of mine. Yes, he has a podcast.
I know. Oh, I figured that's why Occupied Podcast was part of your name. That you probably yes. And a blog. Oh, good. Okay. All right. I'll be nosy and go lurk and check it out. And a few other projects.
Don't we all?
I totally understand that. Yes.
And I think just to bring this chat full circle with our podcast chat, this is like legit highlighting the importance of collaboration right here.
Totally. Yes. Thank you, Occupied Podcast. I'm sorry I don't know your name. It's kind of weird.
His name is Brock.
Brock. Oh, you're the one who's going to guess what the third word is.
Yes. Yay. Oh, so I should have connected those dots, and just in my head, I was like,
that's
okay.
You
know exactly what I'm talking
about. No.
Steven.
Stop. Wait, Steven. This is Steven. No. You know, the name that I use for everything, like with kiddos, when I'm like, they'll say, what's your name? I always say Bob. So, Mr. Occupied Podcast, your name might be Bob in my world from hell. Bob from Occupied Podcast.
Perfect.
Thank you for collaborating with us.
Yes. Yeah. I think, again, it's so important. And when we can kind of put our brains together, like more than one brain is good. Oh, gosh.
Yes.
So.
You were so silly. Been called worse.
So
okay, now I have to go listen to that podcast because I think it's going to be funny.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You need to go listen to that podcast for sure. Okay. Hands down. I'm going to do a little shameless plug. There is also, for anybody that is interested in more OT podcasts, there is a website that our friend Mr. Brock from Occupied Podcast put together.
You mean Stephen Bob?
Bob. Stephen Bob. Stephen Bob. Stephen Bob from Occupied. It is called otpodcasts.com. So otpodcast.plural.com. You can go on there and it has all of the OT podcasts neatly there, so you can go check them out.
Wow, very cool. I bet there's one of those for speech. I should probably take a look at that, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at it. I haven't seen one before. There might be. If not, I don't know.
Very cool.
But yeah, so there's lots of OT podcasts out there, and Connie, I can't thank you enough for coming on mine, even though you're not an OT, because this is the reason. It is so important, and there are so many amazing people out there, other professionals. I'm just going to keep dropping the amazing. It's fine.
There are. Well, it is, I think, universally applicable, and it can be so very descriptive. And I just think that we should keep using it. Although I'm going to throw in a wonderful and fantastic so that I didn't just, thesaurus for nothing.
Yeah. You have it like plastered behind the phone right now. All
I
the different
actually
words
don't.
for amazing.
I did, however, think of printing it out and keeping it handy, but I didn't think of doing that for today, which I probably should have. But next time I do a podcast, I will definitely have it printed next to me. Ugh.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to close out before we just get cut off because I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
I've never gone right to the end before. So thank you. Thank you. Anybody that's listening, don't forget about the giveaway. We got that. Got one more password to go, but if you can guess it before we release it, 20 entries. You guys are in. We got all the books. Hello, Feet.
Hello, feet.
Hello,
Hello,
Mouth.
mouth.
and
hello.
hands. And then the super cool 20, whoops, it's upside down. The 24 things to do with the books, too. So we've got you covered. And
Lots of things to keep you occupied. No fair saying, my kid doesn't like to read books. There's nothing I can do with them.
Yep.
Thank
All right,
you
Connie.
so much for talking to me and letting me come on and play.
Yes, this was fun. And we have the takeover happening in the next couple days, so stay tuned.
Yay!
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.